Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're having a lawyer and someone I met, physically, and we had like a very good conversation. And I think it's be very, very nice to have someone like this live today. And she's very powerful. When I mean very powerful, she has so much knowledge, and that's more reason why I said, okay, should have someone like her to speak on a topic like this. And coupled with the fact that she's established and she's done a lot with her personal life too. So let's welcome Miss Onyinye. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Miracle. Thank you. I'm sure we'll save the conversation for how we met sometime else. But yeah, very inspiring, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, so to be speaking on the role of social creativity in solving social challenges, and we're going to open the floor to her right now, and then she's going to start speaking. So you can send in your questions if you have through the chat box on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. So thank you so much, man. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So when we discuss the topic, I feel like it's a very important topic. The idea of the role of creativity in solving social issues, right? That's a very powerful topic because as a young person myself, I've been able to, you know, more like use creativity to try to see how we can address some of the social issues we have in this society. So I'll give you an instance. As the co-founder of Kate Center for Arts and Creativity, which is a non-profit organization, duly registered in Nigeria. The idea of the organization is to, inspire, groom, and encourage creativity in young people, and also find a way to use it to solve social issues. So the idea of trying to solve social issues in a creative way. So what did we do? I remember, like, in 2022, we had this whole idea of, back then in the East, we had this whole idea of examination malpractice, and we also had the issue of, young people these days, the younger generation, they don't get to read a lot of books because sometimes you write some of those, um, challenges or dangers of vices like examination malpractice in a book, and you expect a young person to read the book, but these days they don't get to read it. Most times they are looking at their screen. You see, like, a 1 year old, he already knows, or she already knows how to operate a computer or a phone tablet. They know how to go to their cartoon. They know how to, they know their way around, some of these devices. So what did we do? So in a school, we got like students. When I say students, we got like, teenagers in junior secondary and senior secondary, for like a month. We taught them, we invited people, we taught them how to act. We directed them, we had like a camp on how to acting. They were able to read their scripts and the rest of that. And what did we do? We acted a movie on the danger of examination malpractice. Because why did we do that? The idea is that, these teenagers, the younger generation these days, they don't get to read a lot. So we decided to go to where they look at, which is the television, online, YouTube, right? So in 2020, April 2022, we had the movie where, and it's also inspiring because it was also like their mates, which are like the young ones again, that acted the movie. So, it was inspiring. You could imagine like a young person like 13 telling their classmate, "Oh, I acted this movie. Do you want to see it?" The whole idea of, "Oh, I acted this movie," and they're interested. They want to see it. And they're seeing it and they're seeing the danger. So what did we do in the movie? We basically laid down the dangers of examination malpractice, discouraging that totally. And it worked because, I mean, in 2022 again, I remember the WAEC gave Anambra State, they wrote to them as the best states with the lowest examination malpractice in WAEC. Yeah, and it worked. It was the students from the state that acted the movie. So it's a thing to find a way to solve a social issue using creativity or in a creative way, and that is what we do at KACAC. And it also interests you to know that the Kate Center for Arts and Creativity also inspired Law Sanad, which is an initiative that provides an enabling platform and access to a better and quality education for law and aspiring law students with disabilities in Africa. So through again the initiative, the organization, we're able to come up with this initiative, which has, over time, it has grown to, it has grown so big that we had to, register it as a different organization on its own. But first, it started from Kids Center for Arts and Creativity. And what are we trying to do through the Loss and Aid initiative? We're trying to provide an enabling platform, bridge a lot of gaps in education, legal education, healthcare. You talk about gender equality, talk about even digital divide, because you find out that we have a lot of digital divide in the society, and then you bring it down to persons with disabilities. They don't get to operate some of these websites, or they don't get to have access to some of these websites because they are not inclusive. So how are we trying to bridge that gap? It was the organization that bettered it, trying to solve some of these issues in a creative way. So this is, like I said, this is a topic that is I find very inspiring, because I've lived through it more or less. Trying to solve some of these issues, and it's also interesting that people want to key in, people want to learn. When I talk to like other young people, have the conversation. Oh, I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. I want to do it, but I keep telling people the danger in holding back is that you are not able to inspire others, and it's also that you're not able to solve a particular issue. Because if we're all being, oh, I want to do this but I don't know where to start, I tell people, just start. I mean, there's no harm in starting. I remember, I started Case Center for Arts and Creativity as a student. I started Lost and Aid as a student. And even the idea of what inspired Lost and Aid again, aside from the fact that we are trying to solve, we are trying to bridge a gap in the society, it was also like an experience. I experienced a colleague who is visually impaired. And I'm like, okay, I think we should do something about this. So, Silver Plate to tell you that procrastination or denial, self-doubt is the greatest danger to creativity. So you think you are not creative, but all this while you're just doubting yourself. You can never tell until you try it out. And to be honest, people don't really care. Nobody. Because some people are like, oh, people are going to laugh at me if I don't succeed. It doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what people think, because you know what you want, and that is, you're trying to do something good, or you're trying to solve a particular issue. And another danger with, sometimes people want to, make an impact of maybe on 1,000 people. I don't subscribe to that, because some people believe in, oh, there has to be quantity. I don't believe, right from time when I've held a lot of, some leadership positions, I tell my people, quality over quantity. It doesn't matter that it's just two persons. They're human beings. The two persons, they are human beings. So you can start with two people, and two people can get to three, they can get to five, they can get to 10, they can get to 20. Because last time they started with one person, and today we're across African countries. You see us in Zambia, you see us in Kenya, you see us in Ghana, you see us in South Africa, and it started because of one person. So you can't really say, oh, because you don't have the numbers, or how many people are going to subscribe to this, or how many people are you going to impact on. One person is enough. You just start, right? So, and leveraging creativity.
So can
So
we cut you in a bit? Can we cut you in a bit?
yeah, sure,
So
sure,
so
sure,
so
sure.
there's a question I need to ask you, and I think it's very important. And the
Yeah.
question is, Anambra, statistically, Anambra has always been known for drastic change, when it comes to education, how they're able to do this. And somehow, um, credit should be given to Peter Obi as well, in a way, because in his time, we could see that he did a whole lot when it comes to education. So the question I want to ask is, what drove you guys, or what was the drive to the extent that you guys were so passionate about this, and you came up with the idea of being creative in such a way that you guys used the same kids that were engaging in malpractice to still create a message to let students not to engage in it? How? Like, what was the drive? How is it that you guys were so passionate about it, and you knew it was as if you knew that this could really make a change? How? And what inspired you guys?
Okay, I think that's a very interesting, very, very interesting question. So, Kids Center for Arts and Creativity, right? It was like an organization I started with, someone very dear to me. My mom, her name is also Kate. So the idea, is to, like I said, bridge a gap and inspire, groom. And this person I'm talking about, when I tell people, When people say, "Oh, you are this, you are that," I'm like, "I've not met my mom," because she's like my role model, right? And she's like everything I want to be, right? And I mean, she always tell me, "You're going to be better than me. You're going to be more," and I'm hopeful, really, right? But the whole idea is that she truly inspires me. And when I mentioned, oh, I wanted to start this, I'm like, okay, we'll do it together, right? And she was in a position then that could give us the numbers we needed to drive the message home. What do I mean? So when we talk about education in Anambra State, fortunately, it's something that every government has prioritized. P2B, Mr. Willie Obiano, and even the current governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, they prioritize education, and you see the benefits in our young people. You see the benefit because over time, you see Anambra people. I mean, definitely Nigerians are doing wonderfully well across the globe, but the states like Anambra State, they prioritize education, and it's paying off, right? It's paying off because with education, I tell people education is one thing that can make a son or a child of nobody become somebody. Education is one thing that will get you into a room filled with people you always see, you just see on the television because you're like, how did I get here? Education is one thing that can get you there, right? You can just by reading, just by studying, and that's why when we had that conversation, Anambra State was already scoring low, when it comes to examination malpractice, but the commissioner for education, she wanted more, right? She wanted zero. You could see them back then. They closed down a lot of miracle centers that draw students close to examination malpractice. They closed down all of them, and they started what they called a shared value. When you go to the school, they recite it every morning, reminding themselves that they can be anything they want. And that was the time I mean, you could see like a lot of them going abroad, winning a lot of competition, a lot of STEM competition, debates, because they started believing in themselves. And that's what education does for you, really, because you begin to believe that you can do this. So the idea was to have a zero examination malpractice tolerance in the state. And again, to make the students believe in themselves, because the danger of examination malpractice is so broad that it affects your self-esteem. You don't even feel like, even when you know something, you don't think you know it because you don't believe in yourself, right? So you see some people they get into the exam hall, and instead of writing what they've read the previous day or that they've learned over time, they don't believe that is the answer because they don't believe in themselves. And I think it was last week I saw on the internet, someone that wrote some things on the shirt. Is it like shirts or like the what's it called? This overall that guys get to wear. Can't remember the name, but he wrote a lot of stuff there, and people are commenting. Like, I saw the comments, I'm like, I mean, it feels good to know that Nigerians know this, because people are like, the time you used to write all this, you could have just learned. It's like, even if it was cramming, you could have just studied. Like, the time you are using to write, like, the guy took his time. He wrote a lot, as if he wrote the entire textbook on the cloth. Like, the time you used to write all that, you could have just. But that's what examination malpractice does. It just kills your self-esteem. You don't believe in yourself. You feel like without doing expo, or without going through that route, that you won't pass. But that's not true. So that was the message. They wanted to drive a message, really. So that's it basically. They wanted to drive a message in the States, and they got all the accolades, and it worked. It worked, and that's what creativity and innovation, because it was the first time it was being done. It was the first time. So that's what creativity and innovation can get for you, really. And yeah,
Wow, wow, thank you so much for it. So I think this is really
yeah.
getting really interesting. And
Hmm.
the other question I want to ask is, what can you say about the challenges, and how do you think young people or leaders should like stay away from problems or challenges? Now, setting an example, you could say that you found yourself in a state or in a situation where exam malpractice was really high, and then you understand the demands of the state at that time. So that led to your creativity. So in a way, it was as if that this problem at that time brought the best out of you guys to be able to, solve the problems you guys had at that time. So the question is, do you think young leaders should run away from problems? And how do you think young leaders can use challenges, can build on it in such a way that, they don't feel discouraged, but in a way they work with it?
Another interesting question, I must say. To be honest, we can't keep running. I mean, there's the idea of, oh, the country is this, the country is that, and it's frustrating. It frustrates all of us, to be honest. But we can't keep running. So that's the idea of doing the right thing, even when people are not looking, right? So I tell people, if you know something you can't do when people are looking, you should still be able to not do that when people are not looking, right? I don't believe in running away from problems, right? I don't believe in a lot of stuff. So my idea of not believing may not matter because I don't believe in a lot of stuff. But so I'll give you another instance, right? Again, it was 2022, 2022, 2023. The Case Center for Arts and Creativity, we had a partnership with TechAside. TechAside was founded by my very good friend, may he still rest in peace, Abbas. Yeah, so Abbas came all the way from Lagos with his friends, David. Um, they came all the way. When I say all the way, they came to the east, and that was the first time. Came with David, and the idea was just what was it we wanted to do. Again, I grew up in Nobi. Nobi is like my town, my village in Anambra State. I went to the primary school there, Community Central School in Nobi, and when we have the conversation, I mean, I've been a bright student. I was getting the first position, but when you think about it, maybe I wouldn't have been the best student if I went to like maybe another school, that had a lot of maybe really 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 smart people. I don't know, but it's just chance and opportunities. That's the idea of this thing, right? So I was a very bright student, topping the class, had positions here and there, trying to make the school better, and there was something that happened. I remember after my primary school, I went to Holy Rosary College, Enugu, and the first term I came 21st. And when I go home, my mom was like, how do you go from first to 21st? But HRC was like one of the best schools, girls schools in Nigeria. Can quote me anywhere. Very, very solid. And you have people from all over the world. When I say world, yeah, because we had like people coming from US, UK. We had like people coming, bringing their kids down to HRC. So like there was a lot of competition, right? But there was something that interested me the first year. After just one, they were calling positions. After calling position, they started doing best in every subject, and it inspired me. I wanted to climb the stage. I mean, different motivation for people really. I mean, my was to climb the stage at that point. I wanted to get to the stage, and what that did to me or did for me was I took that culture back to my primary school because all this while I was getting first, nobody read. I mean, it was just so first they'll give you a report card. There was no gifts, no there was nothing really that came with it that will make other students or other people at that point to want to climb the stage and get first position. So maybe that was why I was just taking the first position because I mean, the family I'm coming from, you have to read, you have to study. So I didn't have so much option. So I was read studying and I was getting the first position, but there was no competition, so much. And it could be because the other my colleagues at that point, there was no motivation to get there. So what I did, I went back to that school. I remember I used my pocket money. I was only 11 at that point. I used my pocket money for the year. I went back, got books, got like gifts, and I started awarding best positions. And it will interest you to know that increased the level of because it was like a community school. The participation to 95%. We had like over 500 plus people coming into the school because I mean there was the news. Oh, this happened. Oh, this is so that is one. So back to Abbas and take aside and there was a time at again it's a community. So a community when I mean my town. So there was a time that we were having like a lot of idea of Yahoo here and there, cybercrime, and I remember going to a particular school, to have the idea of speaking to the young people. And I asked them, "Oh, when you get a phone, what do you do with your phone?" And I'm not kidding. A young boy, I'm not sure that boy is up to 12. He told me, "You do Yahoo." That was his whole idea of, if you have a phone, what do you do with your phone? You do Yahoo. That was what he said. And that took me back. I'm like, you can't really blame this child, because to him, that's all he knows. I mean, maybe that probably, oh, if you're not calling someone with your phone, you're trying to defraud someone with the phone. That's all he knew at that point. And how do we change that? How do you change that? Because there was, I noticed there was a lot of unlearning to do before they start learning something new, right? So after the different sessions we had trying to talk them out, obviously, to unlearn that. And we couldn't stop at that, because after unlearning, if they don't learn something new, they go back to what they have always known, and you can't blame them. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is what it is, because at the end of the day, people tend to judge, right? You see people out there that are doing what they're doing. You're not sure of why they are doing what they are doing, but you're judging. But you're not even sure why they are doing what they are doing. So what did we do? We decided to have a training, right? We tried to upskill them with, like, necessary technology skills, like, because tech aside, that's basically what they do. Technology. They have a lot of teachers, facilitators that get to, like, train these young ones on. You have data analysis, but that is even, like, very far. So you started with graphic design, you start with, like, web development, the idea, like, things you can do with your phone, and you get money in a legit way without trying to defraud your neighbor. So that was what we did: web development, graphic design. After we finished that, we got the boy that said, "Oh, what do you do with your phone?" He said, "Yahoo." We got him. After the program, he designed the flyer, and he was shocked. He was very shocked. Like, "Ah, is it possible to do this with my phone?" He was very shocked. Like, and it was very fulfilling, because, like I said, it's not enough for them to unlearn. We had to give them something. If you're taking something, you're giving them something. So you use one hand to take out, the whole orientation that you use your phone to do Yahoo, and then use the other hand to give them a skill, or to let them know that you can do this with your phone and make money. And again, when I remember going back one of these days, and I saw the guy, like, he has been making money. He did this for somebody. They paid him 1,000 naira. And it was interesting, because I'm okay. Yeah, I'm very proud of you. We got to for him to, like, do some other courses to try to improve himself and the rest of that. So really, I don't believe in running away from the challenges. So there is Yahoo. What are we doing about it? There's cybercrime. People are doing it. What are we doing about it? This is not me trying to defend. It's bad. I condemn 100%. But again, we need to start thinking of ways to take this away from the orientation, and use the other hand to give them something to do. Because for some people, that is all they have known, and you can't really blame them. It could be lack of exposure. It could be lack of knowledge, because that's what people suffer from. They don't have the knowledge. Because you could see how the guy was excited, knowing that, oh, he could actually do something else apart from cybercrime with his phone. So I don't think we should run away from the problem. Instead, we should find a creative way, innovation, to try to solve some of these issues. Right? So that's my thought.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Miss Oye. Okay, I mean, this is getting interesting, and I wish we could extend the time, but we can't extend the time. So we're going to work within the time. So this is the next question I want to ask. You're a young person,
Hmm.
yeah? And the last time we spoke, and I was like, wow, this man is quite really young, and you've been able to, like, do so much for yourself. You've been able to do so much for yourself. And we have a lot of young people like you and I that do not really think that they could get to a certain point in their life. They could achieve certain things in their life. So the question is, based on your experience and based on who you really have, what advice would you give to someone that you are privileged to have that they are not privileged to have? What experience would you want to share with someone of your age that is not privileged to be or have experience that you have?
Sorry, your network was bad a bit. I didn't get the last part of your question.
Okay, so the question is, what advice or how would you tell someone or teach someone the experience that you have, that you're privileged to have, that people of the same age with you do not actually have? Means that you're young, but at the same time you've been able to establish a lot of things for yourself, and that's because you had some experiences and some exposure. So, what advice would you tell people?
It's never too late, right?
Hmm.
So you see people trying to compare their 2 year experience with someone's 10 years or 20 years. I don't think it's ideal. I remember I was talking with a friend, and when I was telling her how I need to do this, how I need to do that, that said she now said, "Oh, that if I'm talking, I'm saying that because of her, that she just knows she has paid her dues," and I respect that so much because really she had paid her dues, and I mean, she's someone I admire a lot. So when she said that, it got him. I'm like, yeah, actually. So people, you have to pay your dues. That's why we have a lot of vice in the society, because people don't want to pay their dues. They just want to reap where they do not sow. There is this whole idea of to make it quick or to get there very fast. I mean, it's okay to get somewhere faster than others, because I mean, even in a law firm, you see people make partner in 7 years, 10 years. You see others make partners in 20 years. So some people get there faster, yeah, but again, they're paying their dues, because it is possible that the person that is getting there in 10 years was putting in, like, let's say 15 hours, and you that got it in 20 years are putting in maybe like 4 hours or 8 hours, and the rest of that, which is fine, totally fine. Take your time, and just know it's never too late. So there are lots of things to still be done, and there are lots of things, because you'll be thinking, oh, I've passed 25, so I don't get to benefit from things that are made for under 25, but they're under 30. And if you think you have passed 30 and they're still under 40, even Forbes, we have Forbes for under 30, we have under 40, we have different things. They're categories. And something again I've realized is that there's always enough time, and there's always a lot of things to be the first in. Because it's like you're like, oh, I'm a lawyer who have had SN, so I can be the first SN if that's what you want to be. But again, you can be the first SN in your village or in your town or in your church. There is always first if that is your own inspiration or motivation. So it's never too late. Start today, right? I mean, it sounds so cliche. Oh, start today. We hear that every day. Da, da, da. But at the end of the day, you have to start today. So you see people, oh, they want to do their masters or they want to do their PhD. They're saying, oh, PhD is 4 years, it's 3 years. They don't have 3 years, they don't have 4 years. I promise you, you will be here. 4 years will pass and you won't have that PhD, and nothing will happen. So why not start? Right? So just start. To be honest, just start. So when I started Lost Aid, right? It was very random. I've had like a project. Like I said, it was an initiative of KACAC. So I've done like a project where I try to assist law students with disabilities in my school, right? After that, I got a certificate from the UN Campus Network. So I finished it, and one day I was just there, and next thing, something said, I mean, for people that believe in God, it could be God. For people that don't believe, it could be your, I don't know, maybe your village people. I don't know. But there was a saying in my ear that said, so now you have finished this, you have gotten this certification. So what next? Are you just going to, are you just going to keep it and add it to your, accolades, or you got a certification from UN? How about these people? The people I was helping, the people I was trying to provide better and quality education for. What happens to them? It was 2 rounds. I remember that day. I just called one of them, Chidubem. I called him. I'm like, "Do I have this idea? I want to do this." And he was very excited. You could see, like, to him, it was, this is our savior. Like, he's like, thank you so much, that they're going to be very happy to know that we're continuing this. And that was it. That was how we started. We started and we're here. Between that space and now, we have gotten a lot of accolades here and there, recognition, which is not necessarily the drive. But I'm just trying to let you know that, for whatever that motivates anybody, there's always time. Because look at me, I just became a lawyer, right? So I've had lawyers over the years, and nobody thought about having an organization, on an initiative that will provide for law and aspiring law students with disabilities till I started it. And so it's okay to say that I'm the first person. So there's always a first. There's always a first time. There's always time. So you can start today, start tomorrow. At the end of the day, just start. Just start. That the age really. When people say age is just a number, I think I agree, because at the end of the day, whether you do it or you don't do it, the time is still going to pass. So why not just start?
Hmm. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Winnie. So we'll come to the
My
end of this
pleasure.
section. We'll come to the end of this section. So before we let you go, I want to ask you a question, and I think I want to ask you a question that's related to your personal life. And the question is, a lot of people have read your profile. Some people have read your profile like, wow, man, she's a big girl, and you're like, you should get, yeah, you should do all this and all that. So that's coming from me personally. As an individual that been through a lot, you've dealt with different set of people, you've worked with different set of people, you've met different set of people. What are values, or what are, some certain moral compasses that helped you, and things that you stood by, that regardless of wherever you find yourself in, you've stood on this, that this was where you're going to stand on. What were those principles and those values that helped you?
That's very interesting, because I was going to say that, as a young person and as an individual, it's very important for people to be able to say, no, Miracle cannot do this. No, Onyinye did not do that, even without hearing from you. So the values are very important, right? So I don't think it's possible. I don't think, or maybe it is possible, but I don't think it's ideal for people to be able to, or not be able to say you can't do this, or oh, I'm surprised you did that. I mean, at least they should be surprised, even if they are not sure yet. So for me, values are very important. Again, when I talk, I always, tell people about my family, because I mean, I'm coming from a family where we have family values, and I'm thankful for HRC, Holy Roger College Enugu. Very proud of that school every time, every day, because there are things I know I cannot do, and I tell you I can't do that, because what would Sister Mercy say? Sister Mercy, who taught you, like what would my mother say? I can't do that. And it's always funny, because the other day, I think last this month, sometime around my birthday. So I was talking with a friend. I'm like, oh, my sister was threatening me. So apparently, like I remember I went to the UK sometime in 2022, and I got like a new dress. I tried it. Apparently, my sister took a picture when I was, joking around. So on my birthday, she sent it to me, and she was like, "Oh, that she's going to post this my nude if I do anyhow." So when I was talking with my friend, I sent him the picture. I'm like, my sister said she's going to post this picture, my nude. So I sent it like view once, and he was laughing like it was like, "Kid, see what people are calling your news," because obviously it wasn't my news. It was like just like a short gown that I wore like host inside, and she just like that, where you are in this life, that so your sister considers this to be bad for you, because you're not supposed to be doing something like this. I mean, I did do me, but really, it wasn't obviously my nude. I mean, you don't have it. Nobody has it really. I mean, I don't even have it. So, but it was like a funny, picture that she considered is going to be bad for my image, and that is the thing, people thinking that you can't do. Even my own sister, I have one sister, like she's like, oh, people knowing that, oh, this is not you, people, you know, that kind of stuff. So the values are very important. When I say values, discipline, sometimes it's easier said than done, but discipline, honesty. When I talk to people, I'm like, I'm 97% honest. And I mean that, because when I say 97%, and that is because I'm not God, I'm not perfect. Because I mean, I've come to a stage in my life, and I made a conscious effort, growing up, and thanks to my parents too, because they always encouraged us to say the truth. I mean, they can spank you, they can shout, they can, but at every point in time, they made sure that we're aware that it is okay to say the truth, right? If it's that bad, you get the consequences. But yeah, you pay. So that way again, you try to avoid problems really, so you don't get to start lying. So the honesty, the fact that people can give you something and then they say, "Oh, I'm going to collect the same back from this person." There are things that you can't take away from people, and that is their values. Like there are things you can never see me doing, and I say this with every sense of modesty, right? And again, I think it's because of where I'm coming from. Because I really don't care about so many things. I don't care about, oh, well, maybe this is what is raining. I don't care about what is raining. What do I want to do? What do I think is good or what is ideal at this point in time? So I've held on to my values. I'm a Catholic. I've held on to my upbringing. I say my rosary. I try to, I pray to God. I read my Bible. I see what God encouraged or what is being encouraged in the Bible, and obviously that is what I believe in. So I don't I'm not like a push around if there's anything like that. I don't feel like people are because this is what people are doing. I should do that. I remember even I remember wasn't it last week or last 2 weeks, someone was like that she noticed I'd be wearing my medal, like my sacramental in almost all my because I posted like some of my throwbacks. So like when I was small, I'm wearing it, and I'm like, yeah, that's my belief, and that's what I do, and I don't think it's bad if you can wear a good jewelry on your neck. Why can't I wear my sacramental, right? And again, it's being around people really that don't judge you, right? So I have friends around people around me that they don't think you are weird or they don't think you are doing something out of the world, in a bad way because you are doing a particular thing or because you have a certain belief. So really, no peer pressure, just being myself, trying to be the best I can be, you know, having my faith. Because at the end of the day, the idea is to make God proud, make my family proud, make myself proud. I make everybody that really, loved ones, people that care really, make them proud. So I I have to hold on to my values, hold them tight because the world is so you have to hold on to those values really. You have to hold on to those values. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of this section, and I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined. I also want to say thank you to Onyinye. Thank you so much, honestly speaking. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for what you do, nationally, globally. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So welcome to the end of this section. And for those who have joined us, thank you. And we hope to see you another time. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
So can I say something? Because I noticed you thanked everyone, thanked me.